it is Melanie Mitro and Katie Ersta, and we are the hosts of the Make Chic Happen podcast. And this podcast is for you, friend. We're going to dive into the skills, mindset, and systems you need to build a successful social media presence, and it supports your business goals. All right, and I am Melanie Mitro, one of the co-hosts, and I have left my full-time career in early intervention to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm seriously craving something more. All right, and I'm Katie. I am a stage 4 cancer survivor. I absolutely love all things storytelling, and I was a teacher who truly just wanted to get the groceries paid for. Never in a million years did I see what would happen with this business. Oh my gosh, and here we are, 10 years later, and we have built multi-million-dollar businesses from our laptop, from our kitchen tables, basically anywhere that you have Wi-Fi. And the cool part is now we get to teach other people how to do the same. So just 2 female entrepreneurs who are wives, moms, and we're also besties who want to take you on the journey right alongside us to help you build a business that you love and a life that you desire. All right, so come on in, check out today's episode. All right, you guys, it is Melanie Mitro, and I'm flying solo today here on the Make Chic Happen podcast, and I'm talking about my all-time favorite topic of all, and that is productivity and time management. But I'm talking about it in a different way because let's face it, right now in 2021, life is crazy. Life is insane. There are constantly sort of pivots and challenges and obstacles that we're being faced with, not only in society, but in business and just life in general. And for those of us that have kids that are school age, I just feel like there is a lot going on. And I've been getting feedback from people I work with that, gosh, I'm having a hard time focusing. I'm having a hard time being consistent in my business. There's just so many distractions. There's so many obstacles. There's so many things to worry about that I can't show up in the way that I want to. And while I respect that, I hear that, and I let it sink in, I also want to share a little bit of perspective. When I was building my direct sales business, first launching my business in 2011, I was a stay-at-home mom of a 6-month-old and a 2.5-year-old. I did not have a babysitter or the funds to be able to hire somebody to come in and help me. My husband, Matt, was not supportive of my business, right? He wasn't supportive of the idea of doing a network marketing business. And so he made it incredibly difficult to have time set aside to be able to show up and build the business the way that I wanted to. Also, it's not like I could just put the kids in the corner for 8 hours while I worked. I had to find time to build my business, to get things off the ground. And then on top of that, I didn't have a background in marketing or sales or social media or health and fitness, which is the industry that I was a part of. And so there were tons of challenges and tons of things that I was facing. It was, anxieties and worries and just like, is my investment gonna pay off? And, can I be a good mom and be a good business owner? And yes, I understand that our worries and challenges of today are maybe a little different than they were back then, but nevertheless, they're challenges. They're things that we are being faced with. And so here's the thing. There'll never be a perfect time to build our business. There's never going to be a perfect time where you're going to have uninterrupted 8 hours a day where there are no distractions, there are no roadblocks. There is always going to be something. So if we know that, right? If we know that, we can work through that. And I always think if I would have waited until Landon and Bryce actually went to preschool in order to build my business, I would have spent 2 years waiting. And in that time, in that 2 years of sort of working in the pockets, I created the foundation of a multi-million-dollar business. I created a top 10 organization in the company. And so I didn't do that with, 8 hours a day in an office just doing my thing. So I know it's possible. And if it was possible back then, it is possible now. So let's unpack that. What does that actually look like? If you are finding yourself right now saying, I can't build my business until my kids go back to school, I don't have to work this full-time job, my spouse supports me, I have more money, whatever it might be, I want you to take a step back and I want you to say, listen, if Melanie and Katie can do it, so can I. So step number one is we have to believe that it's possible in the pockets that we do have. So just to give you sort of an understanding of what mine looked like, I got out my Make Chic Happen planner time blocker, although we didn't have it back then, but I just had a planner that had the time blocks throughout the day. It started at 6 in the morning. It probably went until 9 o'clock at night. And I said, all right, I don't have a lot of structure in my day at that point in my life, but I need to create structure. I need to create some pockets where I can show up and actually build and do the things that are actually moving the needle forward. So I started to create some rituals, some routines for my life. So morning routine. Right in my time blocker, I would write the time I was gonna wake up. That was 5 a.m. 5 a.m. And that's for me what worked because I needed to show up and be on the offense of my day. Because I used to wake up when my kids woke me up. And so I would wake up on the defense. And I don't know if you've ever been through that before, but it's like somebody taps you on the shoulder and it's like, you wake up, you kind of like out of bed, jolt yourself, and then your mind starts racing a million miles a minute. Oh my gosh, I'm already behind. I need to respond to emails and the kids need to get to school and I need to go to the grocery store. But when I started waking up at 5, I then had time to prepare my day to get some of the things I needed off my plate that actually allowed me to show up as a mom, but also as a business owner. So from 5 to 6:30 in the morning, I was doing my personal development. I was, doing my gratitude journal, setting my intentions for the day, moving my body. And then also about 20 minutes of my morning could be devoted to actually building the business. And I'll tell you how I decided what to do during that time next. But then I realized I need to be mom. When the kids wake up, it's mom. And so that is like many of you who go to a full-time job, right? I go to your full-time job, but you have a lunch break. And maybe for me, my lunch break was nap time for the kids, where I would then say, I'm not gonna, clean the kitchen or do the laundry, but I'm going to actually sit down and do my income producing activities. And so I started to shift around my day. I created an afternoon ritual for myself, and it was another session of work. Then I conditioned myself to, after the kids went to bed at night, to show up and finish out the day and to make sure that at the end of the day, that no matter what, the income producing activities were done. And so what I did was I worked off of a sheet, and surprisingly, Katie and I created, this, we called it 2-hour workday. We created a checklist for you. You can actually get it right here in the show notes. But we wanted to kind of break this down for people that don't have a lot of free time to be able to build their business. And so I took that checklist, and it looked different back then. And I just said, from one pocket of time that I've devoted to building my business to the next pocket, I'll carry that checklist. And whatever doesn't get done in the morning will move to the afternoon. And what doesn't get done in the afternoon will move to the evening. And at the end of the day, I get to choose. If I want to exponentially increase my success, then I have to be disciplined to check it all off the box and then do it again the next day. And so this plan, this process of creating these new rituals and habits in my life had a compound effect over time. And it was very messy and very dirty, and there were not clean lines whatsoever, right? Sometimes there were sticky notes on the side table and the kitchen counter and on my bathroom sink, right? And I would compile all the sticky notes of people I was talking to and put them in my notebook at the end of the day. And sometimes it felt out of control. But I was creating an income, I was creating an impact, and I was getting better at the activities that were on that checklist. And before I knew it, I was flying through those tasks without giving it a second thought. And at the same time, my income was growing, and now I had an opportunity to change my situation. That looked like, for me, hiring a babysitter, just a few hours a week, so that now I could take sort of this piecemealing together of the day and have a 2-hour workday in one solid block. And I disciplined myself to say, Melanie, you've got 2 hours of uninterrupted time. Let's get it all done. Let's get it all done, right? And so were there moments, and I know many of you are like, yeah, Melanie, good, that worked for you, but I have a hard time at getting up in the morning. And so I get that too, because hey, I wasn't a normal, like wake up in the morning person, just have lots of energy at 5 a.m. I mean, there were mornings that alarm would go off and I would like sloth myself out of bed. And as I was walking to the kitchen, I would repeat this mantra to myself. I am up, I am up, I am up. I am willing to do what other people are not willing to do so I can have the life that other people wish they could have 3 to 5 years from now. And I would just keep saying it. I'm up, I'm up, I'm up. And even this morning, I was reading my morning journal and my daily devotional, and the whole message today was about, I understand, like, it was manifesting who you want to be and acting as if you've already accomplished the things you want to accomplish. And so I was waking up in the morning and I didn't have energy, but what I was doing was I was acting as if I had energy. I'm awake, I'm up, music was on, my energy was high. I manifested that. I also manifested the business that I wanted to create. And I asked myself, like, how does a top producer act? And then it was like, well, the top producer doesn't procrastinate at the checklist. The top producer doesn't go to bed at night until the checklist is done. The top producer invites a few more people even when they don't feel like it, right? A top producer surrounds themselves with other successful people so that they can elevate themselves. And so, yes, it wasn't always easy for me to wake up in the morning or to, put the kids to bed and come back to work at night. But I created a habit for myself. I created a new discipline. I created the mantras. And the driving force behind that was my why. You see, I always love to pull out the poster board, the piece of poster board that actually has my initial vision board on it, because it's great. It's awesome. It's got a stack of books, and it has a house. It has some beach chairs on the beach, and those all symbolize things I wanted for my life. And there's lots of other things on there too, but I hung that vision board, I hung that on the wall in the basement where I worked out, in the storage room, with my little makeshift desk. And I would walk into that basement every morning, 5 a.m., eyes barely open, I'm repeating my mantra to myself, and I'm looking at that vision board. And I see the stack of books, and I see the house that I want to be able to, buy, for our family, to be able to have a backyard and a place for the dog to run and a swing set for the kids. And I visualized what that would feel like to walk through the front door. I visualized what it would feel like to hit submit on those student loan payments. I visualized the joy that my business would bring to our lives because of the discipline that I had in that moment. And keeping that why alive helped me to get through that difficult time. So if you're finding yourself not disciplined, what about your why? Do you have a strong driving force for what you want your business to provide for your life? Do you believe it's possible for you too? What new habits, rituals, and routines are you going to create in your life right now that are going to help you work through the pockets of time that you do have? Listen, it's not about perfection. It was so messy, and I said this before a little earlier in the episode, is that it was not clean. It was imperfect. There was not a lot of time for pretty graphics, and I couldn't overthink my social media posts. It was make the video, post it. It was, write the post and take the picture and get it out there, send the email, because I didn't have a lot of time. But it was action. I took action, and action compounds. So remember that. For those of you that are perfectionists, I know you're out there. That's also an avoidance tactic. Give it the good old Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, post and go. All right. Also, one more thing. Short-term sacrifices lead to long-term rewards. And remember, you're not going to have to make sacrifices for the rest of your life. Think about it this way. I wanted to work hard for 3 to 5 years so I could live the life that I wanted for the rest of my life. Now, I look at that and I say in that 3 to 5 years, right, we did pay off our student loans. We did pay off our mortgage and buy a new home. Matt did quit his job. So guess what? Our situation changed. I no longer had to work in pockets. Matt was now home. He was supportive. I was able to build the business in solid chunks every day and still have the freedom to live life. So if you're saying to yourself, gosh, am I going to be able to, work full time and build this business in the pockets forever? The answer is no, because your hard work today is going to create freedom for tomorrow. So remember, sacrifice is short term. All right, you guys, I know this season might be challenging, and I know you might be met with a lot of obstacles, but you can do this. And we here at Chic Influencer, Katie, myself, and the whole team, we're your support system. And if you want guidance, if you want mentorship, if you want community, come join us.
go download that 2-hour Workday PDF that we have right here in the show notes. And then also come check out the Chic Influencer community. We're going to be training on topics like the 2-hour Workday and how to push through the fourth quarter and how to set goals for your business and how to create momentum. So we'll link that in the show notes as well. And we hope to see you inside of our Chic Influencer community soon. You guys, let's go out there and make chic happen.
All right, so if you loved today's episode, make sure you head over to wherever you listened to the episode today and leave us a rating and review. And also take a little screenshot and tag us on Chic Influencer. We'll feature you in our stories. Plus, we'd love to get your feedback and hear from our listeners. Until next week, let's make chic happen.